But Paul DeCoster, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you doing? How you doing,
Great,
JoJo?
thanks.
Good to hear you.
Yeah, so you're a featured artist tonight, and it's June 7th, and this is episode 237. And so this is my time when I ask you to kind of give your elevator pitch. I'm walking down the road, and you're like, "Hey, I'm DeCoster," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then you tell me who you are, what you're doing with your music. And then you're actually gonna give us a little sample of the "Lend a Hand" song that we're gonna check
Yes.
out the video of, and then we're gonna come back and Dave's gonna get a little deeper with Dave. Yep.
Well, who I am is I'm Paul DeCoster. I go by the name DeCoster, and I'm somebody who was once called a progressive version of Tom Petty. A lot of the music I do tends to be kind of a mix between like progressive music in the vein of Pink Floyd, perhaps, maybe Rush, with kind of an underlying groove that you can find in the percussion section. It's very rhythmic, and but it also can get very soft and sensitive as well. So, I mean, I take from a number of influences. Somebody once compared me to Rick Emmett of Triumph, which I thought was really pretty flattering. But I tend to have a lot of influences like James Taylor as well. So currently what I'm doing with my music right now is I'm going to be releasing some new songs this year. Some of them are going to be quite upbeat. Some of them were written during the pandemic. And some of them are actually about trying to communicate with people even though they're unable to touch. So I'm somebody that has a lot of fun with music, love to play it, and love to play the guitar. And that's
Cool.
pretty
So
much what I can give.
Mr. Soft and Sensitive, go ahead and
Soft and sensitive with a little bit of a kick.
Yeah,
go
man,
ahead
let's
and
hear it. Let's hear it.
sample us a tune, and then just keep playing, and we'll tell you when to stop.
Sounds good to me. This is called Lend a Hand. Caught you in a moment of crisis. You captured my heart and held it in stasis. Might not get close enough to understand. It don't mean I can't try to lend a hand. I see you. I see you once in a while. We say hi when we're passing the street. I walked your dog once since that time. Conversations get longer as we speak. But when I saw you outside the cafe, you cried tears like you had been banished that day from a world that you thought you knew. I didn't ask, would you have wanted me to? Caught you in a moment of crisis that captured my heart and held it in stasis. Might not get close enough to understand. It don't mean I can't try to lend a hand. 3 weeks later, your look is more distant. I see you need help, but I am resistant. Your head is down like a yoke bearing on it. Can only be broken with a kiss upon it. But your sicker Prince Charming's claiming they'll save you. If you told me go away, I won't blame you. But still I...
All right, Paul DeCoster, man, glad to have you here. So yeah, I was flipping through your website. So in addition to those influences that you mentioned, I see some other names like Don Henley, Brian Adams, even Sting, and Steve Perry.
Well,
So,
Steve Perry's kind of
yeah.
like, well, you see, kind of like by the way I sing, I kind of am influenced by a lot of those guys. They tend to have very high tenor voices, and that's what I shoot for usually, you know.
Well, I was thinking of someone else, Paul.
Who was
And
that?
I think it sounds like the best fit to me for a few reasons. I'm going with Graham Nash.
Graham
Right?
Nash. Now, you're
So
the first
Graham
person who's
Nash,
actually ever said that.
okay,
Circa the Hollies?
yeah, and it's a few years, before any of these other influences that people are mentioning, but they're both at most about like the 80s and late 70s.
Mhm.
Graham Nash, I actually just watched a YouTube video with him like a week ago, and he was playing some live tunes. So I think your sound, it almost sounds like you're soul brothers with Crosby, Stills, and Nash before Young joined.
Well, the
That's what
funny
I
thing
hear
is,
in your style, man.
well, I think the funny thing is a lot of I'm very heavily influenced by a lot of English rock, and a lot of rock that coming from the British Isles. I mean, that really you could say the Beatles, yes, but anybody who was directly influenced by them. XTC certainly from
Right.
Sweden, they were great. Graham Nash, I like Joe Jackson, I like
Yep.
Squeeze, you know, around 79, 80, around that particular period. I also like Tears for Fears, you
Oh
know,
yeah, love them.
Tears for
Yeah, but
Fears, Cutting Crew, you know,
yep.
also, believe it or not, I like George Michael. I mean, I think he had a very powerful message to say when he was here on Earth, you know.
But yeah, Paul, I mean, it's like Crosby, Stills, and Nash. I mean, if I would encourage maybe some of your fans or some listeners checking out this show to listen to their early stuff, and I really hear a lot of resemblance there. And as I'm listening to your song, I was longing for those background harmonies to come in because it just brought me to that type of era and that flavor. And I think it's kind of this underlying style that may not be conscious to you, but I'm just telling you as a critic that's what I get a really strong vibe from. So,
Well, the funny
yeah.
thing is that there are a lot of the songs I write are very much with the band in mind, you know.
Okay.
And background vocals they definitely lend themselves to background vocals. In fact, I've actually envisioned some songs in which I'm not just singing, I'm not the only one singing, I'm singing with other people as well. Even though it might be a song which I write, I would have other people singing along with me, something like Neil Young used to do back in the day with Helpless.
Yeah, for sure.
Or Tonight's the Night.
For sure. So this is like, folk / pop type of a flavor.
In this particular instance, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that particular album that you heard, Universe, it was all acoustic. I mean, my prior efforts, my first album, Calling All Lovers, is much more of a rock album, kind of like in the line of maybe the Eagles or something like that. My EP, Walking in the Sun, is more of like an 80s pop homage.
EP, Walking in the Sun.
Yeah, I have an extended play with about 5 songs on it called Walking in the Sun, and that was an effort which I made prior to Universe, you know.
Awesome, man. All right, so moving on here, a couple more questions for you. So the website, by the way, is DECOSTERmusic.com.
Correct.
And so I'm flipping through here, and I come to this page, and it's your shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have upcoming shows, March 21st, 2020, and then it just stops. And that was basically
Well, I think that's because, as you know why, the pandemic kind of like put everything to a screeching halt. And I'm glad that you reminded me of that because I have 2 shows to put on there, both of which are at Cafe Atlantique in Milford, Connecticut. I want one coming up. I believe it's going to be on the 19th of June this month, a day before Father's Day, and that's going to be 7 and 9. So anybody, if anybody's in the Milford, Connecticut area, it's I think on 123 River Street or River Avenue or something like that. Just a little ways away from the Metro North Station. It's Cafe Atlantique. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
There, I'm going to be there again. I believe it's going to be in July. Let me get you the date. I'll have to check my phone actually. I'm glad you reminded me of that. And I'm going to be putting that show up. And I'm going to be actually participating in Porch Stomp 2021 on Governor's Island. It's going to be on the 26th of this month. And it's going to be at noon. I'm going to be going on like around like 12:40. And actually, that's a very interesting concert because that's one in which is called Equality is Sexy, in which I'm actually going to be doing a duet with a woman. And we're going to be singing some famous women singer-songwriters.
Cool. So life is returning to the planet, which is exciting. But so what did you do with the lost year, man? How did you spend your time?
Well, to me, it wasn't lost. I was working on my craft. I was working on the guitar. I was working on jazz guitar, trying to get
Okay.
that in hand, because I want to really, I love jazz harmonies and I love progressive harmonies, and I want to be able to be a better musician and really incorporate that in my playing. You know, I mean, what you heard then was just a little folky, but I want to kind of like make it a little more complex.
Awesome.
More, guitar stuff, like this one. Like, I'll do you like a little sample of what I'm doing for a song. I'm not going to sing it.
Please.
The promise of love is elusive in the way you're thinking of. So open your heart, let your weary spirit draw the chart. The only road is cut out for you. Go ahead, do what you do. Don't give up, don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. On the promise of love, on the promise of love.
That's great, man. I love
That's
that.
an example of some of the stuff that I'm doing.
That's awesome, dude. So are you going to be releasing some songs in that type of style?
I am, and I'm also going to be releasing some songs which are a little bit more rocking. Like, here's a sample of a song I got called "Party in the Candy Cane House." Like, let's see. Last night I was on a dead end street, shaking like a martini allowed to speak. Come on inside, the buzz sticky and sweet. Take off your shoes so you can lick your own feet. Of course. Party in the candy cane house tonight. And I'm not gonna be tonight. Dance to the smell of peppermint delight. Nothing makes sense, and that's why you feel alright. So something like that.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, so that's more of a rockin' song. And I'm
That's
just
great,
giving a
dude.
little bit of a taste, for the sake of time,
Well, yeah, Paul, we got to get moving on here with the show. So it was awesome
Sorry to,
having
like-
you on.
I
Yeah,
kind of feel like I kind of snuck in a couple of songs there. Just
that's fine. That was great.
like, oh, well, by the way, let me do this. And,
Yeah, no, it's great, man. We love the live performance. I mean,
I just want, because I like live performances, because you get to really see me in the flesh, and, you really get to see for yourself, is this guy okay? What can we do and all? But
Right.
I'm glad to be sharing this with you, and I hope you've taken it all very well listening to me.
No, absolutely, man. Please send us your new stuff when it comes
I will.
out.
I'll be very happy to. Once I get it kind of like polished and mixed and all that, I'll send some your way. Just I've got your email address. Anyway,
All right, cool, man. Have a great night, Paul.
you too. Have a great night. Thank you, guys.